Hello, everyone. Today is Monday. You must be on Mondays with Wallace. We are here live from Los Angeles, and we are talking about any and everything cannabis. Today is Monday, June the 4th, 2008. I'm Wallace Peoples. I'm here at the Power of Voices studio in Culver City, California. My producer is Lee Michaels. We are today going to speak about all the things that we've always spoken about and all the things that you love, cannabis. What we are going to look at today is we're going to touch on some of our previous conversations with smoking cannabis and the NBA. As you all know, we got a lot of slack from our 3-point, what was it? 3-point high scoring, boring, or 3-point high scoring, boring NBA. And there was an article that recently had spoken about how the NBA has really declined quite a bit due to the 3-point shot. And while I thought that maybe that is due to not necessarily the cannabis, but to the general league and the general culture that we are seeing in the league. So my feeling and my concern is it's just too many 3-point shots. And if you saw the last Cleveland game, you'll look at J.R. Smith, what he did in the last few seconds of the game. A lot of people are saying, and a lot of people have said to me on Facebook, is that J.R. is smoking. And that I'm kind of thinking that's possibly the case. What we're going to do today, and I'm thankful to be able to do it, is we're going to provide endorsements for governor. A lot of our endorsements are going to be based on people that we feel are going to offer a very clinical and a very opportunistic view of cannabis, moving to a very responsive program with cannabis. As you all know, we are a think tank operation. I personally do not smoke cannabis, but I'm thankful for anyone that wants to smoke cannabis. I think we've changed a lot of our ideas about cannabis and the type of people that smoke cannabis. The title of our show today is Cannabis, looking at the Electoral College of Cannabis. And what that basically means is we want to identify which states are, I guess you'd call them green states. There's red states and there's blue states. And California would obviously be neither, and we would call ourselves a green state. Denver, green state. Looks like Michigan is really approaching a legalization themselves. Michigan in 2008, I believe, legalized medicinal marijuana. In 1997, we were talking about marijuana being promoted in, was it New Jersey? And that's when the NBA started the league shooting the 3-point shots. And that's when the league declined toward the 3-point shots. So we're looking at a few of our candidates this year for governor. And one of the governors that the governor candidates in California that we're going to talk about. The first one is a GOP candidate, a Republican candidate, John Cox. John Cox says that his personal feeling is that people who smoke marijuana should be hospitalized. Mr. Cox has felt that anyone that smokes should be given some opportunity for treatment because Mr. Cox feels, John feels, and John is a Republican out of Rancho Santa Fe. His feeling is that smoking actually degrades our society, and I've moved away from that. Many of my guests have also moved away from that also. And our general feeling is that there's probably so many people in our society which actually smoke that we really need to acknowledge the voters' rights of these people, because these people do vote, and we're thankful for their voting. So we're going to look at whether we should endorse GOP Republican candidate John Cox. And my feeling is no. John seems to have too much of a conservative perspective on cannabis. Cannabis is something that's absolutely moving ahead, and cannabis is something that we need to really acknowledge. We're going to have in-studio guests today. One of my in-studio guests is Stephen. Stephen is a dear friend. Stephen is from the West Side area, and Stephen's also going to give us his ideas. We're lucky to have Stephen here today. He's going to give us his ideas on delivering. Another candidate that we were considering endorsing is Ricardo Lara. Ricardo Lara is a Los Angeles-based senator. I believe he's a senator. And Ricardo was considering, he's the senator that actually endorsed getting marijuana delivered in outlying dry towns. We're fortunate enough to have one of our in-studio guests, Stephen. Stephen actually delivers to dry towns. One thing that we have noticed with marijuana, marijuana is tending to look like the drug companies, in that marijuana is isolating smaller people, and the culture is not allowing people that have made money on marijuana for years and years and years and years. The culture is becoming more of a big business, and it seems to be hurting almost the people that are really in marijuana culture, doing a wonderful job, who are delivering, who've been providing a service. The service, is Stephen with us yet? Yep. Stephen, thank you for being with us.
Good afternoon. My name's Steve Cotton. I'm with SC Edibles.
Steve Cotton is absolutely fantastic. Steve, with SC Edibles, it's our understanding that it's really challenging to get marijuana seeds. Is that something, and it's my understanding, and you can help me with this, I don't know the answer to this, how are we able to differentiate from the male from the female seeds?
Gotcha. So when it comes to marijuana seeds, yes, it is difficult to get the right seeds. You can get any of those seeds when you go outside. You may have a marijuana plant. You may see seeds on there. You can take the seeds off of there and try to grow them. But to get the right feminized female seed, it is difficult. You need to go to a seed bank. They have what is called seed banks right now, and most of these seed banks are located outside the country. A seed bank is someone that has gone through all the species of marijuana, and they know all the different strains, and they can actually feminize a seed. So what they do is they take a female plant and they clone it.
Stephen, can I interrupt you for a second? I have to tell my listeners and anyone that's with us, it's absolutely amazing the abundance of knowledge there is about this. Yeah. I don't feel like I'm a clinical pharmacist, as you all know, and I really feel like I have a phenomenal pedigree on just about everything. Stephen's coming in here, and I'm just almost awed by your information and the information that you have, and I apologize for interrupting you, but please continue.
No. These seed banks, most of these seed banks are located in Europe and outside the United States because they have these species of marijuana that we don't have here in the U.S. So what they do is they take female plants and they clone off these female plants to get female seeds. Some people take female seeds and male seeds. and they wait until the plant grows to figure out whether or not they want to keep it. Because you can't tell from just the seed whether or not it's a male or female. You have to wait till the plant grows, maybe about 4 to 6 weeks. You can tell the gender of the plant.
Is that right? So what is the typical gestation age of a plant? When we have a plant and I plant a seed, and for someone that wants to plant a seed, and I've taken on gardening, I feel like my family was a gardener. In fact, my family is from Louisiana, and that's what we did when they gave the 40 acres and a mule. Mm-hmm. They gave us. I still have the property. We still have the property, and I was thinking, to grow marijuana on the plant. I was on the land. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the laws in Louisiana are like, but what's the gestation period of a seed? So if I got a seed from you, mm-hmm. is that something you all can provide?
Yes, we provide seeds, and seeds usually take about 3 months to harvest. So until you would actually be able to have something that you'd be able to smoke from that plant, take about 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sweating like a dog, man.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. I hope our lights aren't. Could we, Elia?
Grab me a paper towel.
Could we get a paper towel? Paper towel. Paper towel.
Right there.
An actual paper towel?
Mm-hmm.
Paper towel. Thank you.
Sweating like a dog, man.
You know, one thing about our studio here at the Power of Voices with Lee Michaels.
Thank you.
Our help sucks.
There we go. We're working on it.
Our help. I really need to do better with our help, and a lot of it probably has to do with the stipend that we give them, and but our service could be a little better. And thank you for being here.
No problem.
So though the amount of time that you plant the seed, do the seeds require a lot of water?
The seeds do require water. The important thing is the right type of water. You can't just go to your garden hose and water your marijuana plant with your water hose because there's chlorine in our water. Our mm-hmm. water has chlorine, and the plants don't like chlorine. The chlorine, we use it because we bathe with the water, we drink the water, we cook with the water, but the plants, they don't like the chlorine.
I see.
So you need to actually filter your water, and then you can feed your plants with it, with the right nutrients as well.
I see. I've understood that some of the nutrients are things that are ammonium type products, but what nutrients is there potassium? Is there a particular nutrient that you would use? There's things like, what's the product that helps you grow fast? What is it called? Evergrow or
one of my
Miracle-Gro? Miracle-Gro. Is that something that you
Miracle-Gro is something that you can buy at Home Depot. It is it's a brand that everyone knows, but it's not a brand it's cheap. Miracle-Gro is really cheap. I like soil like Fox Farm. I use Fox Farm soil. Mm-hmm. This soil is a little more organic. It's not, you're not going to find it in Home Depot. You have to go to your local grow stores to find Fox Farm soil. Mm-hmm. But I've tried Miracle-Gro and I've tried Fox Farm. I get much better results.
Why would you feel there'd be a difference? How would we differentiate the soil? Does it have more mulch in it? Does it have more, is it damper?
I think the thing is that the kelp. They put kelp in the Fox Farm. Mm-hmm. They actually use sea algae and kelp in Fox Farm, and I think that's one of the most amazing ingredients that the marijuana plants love. They really like sea kelp.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Sea kelp?
Kelp.
Sea kelp. Mm-hmm. Well, that's very interesting. And a marijuana plant, is that an annual plant, or is that something that will grow? Like if you planted like my tomatoes, mm-hmm. I plant tomatoes, and I was considering experimenting with planting marijuana. I know in California now you can actually grow at your property. Is it 12 plants or 6 plants?
6 plants.
It's 6 plants per.
The legal law right now is 6 plants you can grow in your backyard, and it usually takes about 3 months for these to harvest. The harvest period for you to plant your seeds was probably about 3 weeks ago. It's not too late to put your seeds out right now. We have the perfect weather here in California, where we are in Southern California, mm-hmm. Northern California. The weather is just right so that it'll go through harvest season 3 months and you'll get a great harvest. A lot of people grow out the season too, but they do this indoors.
Oh, I see. Mm-hmm. In a place like Michigan, where a lot of our listeners are from, they have the absolute frigid cold. And in Los Angeles, you're really not able to grow apples because apples actually require so many cold days or days below freezing for them to work. Would marijuana if you froze marijuana as a plant, let's say you introduced it to, say, a Ohio
Cold environment.
cold, extremely cold, below freezing environment, would it kill it?
It'll kill the plant.
It'll kill it.
The plant is not made for cold weather. It's
is that
a
right?
warm weather plant. And people in the cold weather, what they do is they grow it indoors.
Indoors.
Where they can control the humidity, they can control the temperature, and they can control the outside and the inside environment so that pests and things don't get inside of there as well. Pests can become a big issue with marijuana plants.
Is that right?
Eat up your crop.
Is that right? Plants will eat it up?
Caterpillars, all type of insects, mold can become a serious issue. Growing indoors, outdoors as well.
A lot of people, when you see, Stephen, when you see marijuana, a lot of people visualize the plant, but the plant is not typically what you smoke.
No.
Correct.
Good question. You're going to smoke the buds. What happens is the plant, it grows up into a tree, and then once the tree flowers towards the end, when the sunlight,
And
the
this
days
is
get
at
shorter and
about
shorter.
how many months will the tree start to flower?
When the days start getting shorter in the year, when daylight savings happens and the days start getting shorter and shorter, it's less daylight. So what that does to your plant is it tells it that it's time to flower. Once you're getting less daylight, when it's getting tons and tons of daylight during the summertime, it's growing, it's vegetating, it's in a vegetative state. So that when you get to your less days of summertime, when you're getting less sunlight, now it's in a flower state. The flower state is when it actually starts to grow buds, and you want hard buds. You don't want airy buds. You want nice, hard buds so that you can actually smoke these buds. If your buds are airy, it's going to be stemmy, and you really can't smoke it. It'll be just another weed. You want good marijuana. You don't want just another weed.
Okay, so how are you differentiating airy for our people that are listening to us on podcasts? An airy bud is a bud that is...
An airy bud would be described as a weed. A real bud is supposed to be hard. It has firm texture. It looks like a cone. It will look like an ice cream cone. It should have some structure to your bud. An airy bud is going to have holes in it. It's going to have leaf. You don't want leafy buds, real leafy buds. You want a nice hard nugget so that you can break that down and you can smoke your marijuana.
I see. Are you able to take, so I have a plant in front of me and I want to smoke the plant, and you take the bud off. Do you actually crush the bud? So how would I smoke the marijuana? Or actually, in fact, although I have a fairly good idea, but you do, your company, which is SC Edibles, and we're so thankful to have you, as always, you know. So how would we be able to differentiate what we're going to smoke from what we're going to put in an edible? Because I believe that's your specialty, is edibles.
Most customers, consumers, when they get it, it's already in a bud. It's already been cured, cut, and trimmed. So what we do is when the plant is finished, we take the entire plant, we cut off all the buds, and then we trim and cure the buds. Once we trim the buds, we take off all the leafy parts of the bud. You don't want to smoke the leafy parts because it has no THC in it.
I see.
It has no THC content. It has no CBD content. It's not going to do anything. Those leafy parts for you, you want the good hard nugs that are full of THC. So what we do is we trim those buds, and then once we trim them, we put them in a jar for about 2 weeks, and we cure the buds. It's what we call a burping technique. We take the lid off one time every day for about 15 minutes, and we burp these jars. It's kind of like fine wine. Weed gets better with age.
Quite remarkable.
Weed starts to get better with age. So we don't want to smoke it when it's real wet and real fresh. We want to give it about 2 weeks in the jar to cure it, burp it, and then it starts to bring out the fragrances in it, a nice smell in it, and it starts to bring out a nice aging to it. It's kind of like steaks, wine. Weed does get better with age. But you don't want to dry it out. You need to keep it at a certain temperature so it stays moist and humid. You don't want to dry it out because then it doesn't get fine with age anymore. You want to keep it at a moist temperature, like your cigars. You got to keep cigars in the humidifier in order to keep them fresh. Weed is the same way.
I see. That's absolutely remarkable. And I sit here, as I hope my listeners are, I'm just astonished at the information and how you're actually culturing this and you actually are nurturing this. And I think if you can do anything really well, if you can love anything, and if you can put your heart into anything, you'll really get a good product. I have a challenge myself just growing anything. And I just wonder if I have the discipline to grow. And is it possible just to grow it and just go out and just grab it and smoke it? Or
That's
no,
a good
it's not,
point,
not
man.
possible.
When you get to growing marijuana, you need to like gardening.
Is that
Because
right?
when I got into growing marijuana, I thought I was going to love it. I thought it was going to be the thing to do. I thought I was going to make a whole lot of money. I thought I was going to plant some plants and start selling it and make a great business. But I didn't enjoy gardening like that.
Oh,
It's
is
a
that
lot
right?
of work. It's a lot of tending to your plants. You can't leave them for a week and then come back to them. You need to keep an eye on those things every single day.
When you say you can't leave them for a week,
Mm-hmm.
and I have left my plants for a week, and of course, they died. Is that because they require water, or they require nutrients?
They
or
require love. They're just
require
like
love.
people. These plants require love. They need to be tended to, checked on, and loved. So, my example, when I went out of town for a week, I went to Coachella for a week, and I came back, and my plants were almost dead.
Is that right?
It was because of timer situation. I had these plants inside, and I had them on a timer, and the timer got messed up, and I lost the whole crop.
Oh, that's really
Very
unfortunate.
expensive. So
Yeah.
you need to love gardening. You need to like being in the dirt. You need to like being out in the heat. You need to like pests because there's bugs. They get all in your thing. You need to really enjoy gardening before you get into it. I thought I was going to love it, but now I'm leaving the growing side alone. There's people that love to grow, and I'm going to let them do the growing part, and I'm going to do the business part of it.
Well, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. If we can be helpful to you, or any of our listeners can be helpful to you, your business is SC Edibles. This is Stephen Cotton, and you're out of, I believe it's Inglewood from your shirt. It says Inglewood.
Inglewood. We have an Inglewood clothing brand. The Rams and the Chargers are coming to Inglewood, and this is our city.
Oh, that's absolutely wonderful. Did you know I have season Charger tickets? Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah, I have season Charger
Can't
tickets.
wait to go to a
We'll have
game, man.
go. How have you found? We are today. We're talking about who we are going to support for governor. How have you found, Stephen, that the city of Inglewood has been supportive of the cannabis movement? Have they been supportive of you as a business?
That's a great topic that we should discuss on the show. City of Inglewood is one of the harshest cities to do medical dispensaries in.
You said harsh, which means that it's a challenge for you.
Extremely difficult to put a medical marijuana dispensary in Inglewood, California. All around Los Angeles, it's the wild, wild west right now, and these dispensaries are popping up like mad. Some people have the right licensing, other people don't have the right licensing, but these dispensaries are popping up like mad right now. People are taking risks. It's the wild, wild west right now, and they're trying to make it work with these dispensaries.
Yeah. I understand there's a lot of illegal businesses that are popping up, and I think Inglewood, I'm somewhat surprised because I would think they would be a little more, and the mayor is Butts, I believe. And, I know Butts. He used to be the city police department head in Santa Monica.
Really?
Yeah, he was the head, and I used to know him through a friend. One of our weekly contributors, Bob Holbrook, was the mayor, and Mr. Butts, Jim Butts, I believe. Is it Jim Butts? James Butts. Yeah, he actually is a big basketball player. He plays quite a bit of basketball. I don't know if he still has it. It's been years since I've seen Jim. But I would think they would be a little more supportive. Do you feel it's the economics? Do you feel it's the pro sports that are coming? Or what do you feel is their motivation?
When you think of Inglewood, California, you think of all the rappers. You would think it would be more lenient. You would think this would be one of the cities that would adopt medical marijuana, but they are really being harsh, and they are putting up a red flag to it. This is because I think they want to tax it. They want to be one of the first cities to properly tax and regulate medical marijuana. All these dispensaries been popping up in LA. Some of them have licensing, and some of them don't have licensing. And they're doing it. Some of them are doing it illegally and legally. Inglewood wants to be the first city to have the proper measures in place to tax it. I think Inglewood wants everybody to go to Centinela Hospital and get your marijuana from there. They don't want all these dispensaries on Manchester, La Brea, Florence, just all these people like what I say, people like me that are opening dispensaries. They don't want us to make money off of this. They want to control the money, the tax dollars, and they want all the medical marijuana customers to go to Centinela Hospital to purchase marijuana. I think that's what the city of Inglewood is moving to. Regulations and laws to make sure that people have to go to the hospital to get marijuana.
If I can interject a story here, some 25 years ago, there was a sheep. They had sheep, and there was sheep feed, and sheep feed was just amazingly cheap. Sheep feed, it was a nutrient based that it either was from a certain plant or it was from a certain. I don't quite know the origin of this sheep feed, but farmers used it for years and years and years and years. Over this time, what had happened with sheep, and you could buy a bag of sheep feed. A bag of sheep feed was somewhere in the neighborhood of $5. A big sack of sheep feed was $5. Well, what had happened with this sheep feed is that they had found that it had some abilities to treat cancer. And so what was really cheap and what was really affordable and that what was really a pretty good product, what do you think happened to the price?
Oh, it skyrocketed.
It skyrocketed. So what they were selling for $10, $20 escalated to something in the neighborhood of $10,000.
Wow.
So I don't think that's where Inglewood wants to be. I just don't think that's the proper perspective. I have been to Centinela and I've worked there, and that's a phenomenal hospital.
My dad worked there too.
Oh, is that right?
My dad worked at Centinela Hospital.
Your dad was a physician, I believe.
Family practice.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we really respect that, and I've met your dad and your mom. They're both wonderful people. I've met both of them. I don't think that Inglewood really, if they're actually doing that, what you say they're doing. I feel like I'm pretty knowledgeable, and we're both advocates. We should probably advocate against that.
We don't want that, huh?
We don't want that, or at least that's the feeling. And I think we're going to have to maybe try to get someone from Inglewood in here, or even Maxine Waters. Maxine Waters, I think she's really been very supportive culturally to the culture of people that are businessmen and people that are actually trying to make money in marijuana. It, to me, without making it a black or white issue, because I don't think marijuana is a black or a white issue, but it's remarkable to me that for years and years and years and years, minorities sold marijuana, but now we're at a position with the whole business nature of marijuana, whereas now African Americans and minorities, we have to go to non-African Americans to buy weed, and
you're right.
And I just left a marijuana shop. There's a shop in Playa del Rey. They had asked that I actually give them a shout out, and I have to apologize. I don't have their information, but it's amazing that it's all white people, which I'm thankful for.
You're right.
For that
for years and years and years, the minorities have. I mean, from Jamaica, we've been smoking this plant and we love it. But now with the new laws in place, all the big companies are coming in, and the white people are coming in.
And I don't think it's a white people or black people, and I certainly don't want to say that. And many of my listeners are white and black, and we have a lot of different cultures. A lot of people are physicians, and you obviously come from a healthcare family. But how do we reconcile that? Is it the money? Is it too large of a hill to get over for minorities?
I think these companies, these big buck companies like Walmart and other companies that have been buying up land and they're getting ready to farm the marijuana, I think they need to start hiring minorities. People like us that have been dealing with this plant and this industry for so long, just to get our input, because they're going to change the industry completely. If they bring some of our minorities on and get some of our input in and start working with Walmart on these farms and things like that, I think the future will be better for the marijuana industry. Because what's happening now is these big companies are coming in and they're taxing it. They're taxing it, and they're making it harder to get marijuana.
I see. Even the prospect of buying seeds. You had mentioned that you could possibly get seeds. And for the sake of exploring, I've been trying to get seeds. And it seems to be impossible.
It's tough to get these seeds, man. A lot of people get seeds right out their backyard from their plants, but those are whatever seeds. But if you really want some good seeds, you need to you can order them online. That's something that's big. The internet. You can actually go on the internet. You can look up these seed banks online, and you can order seeds from them. A lot of people are scared to do it because they don't know what the laws and everything are, but I've ordered online from these seed banks overseas, and it seems to be very good.
Some of the our show today is about endorsements. Two people that we were also going to consider endorsing, Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom. Are you familiar with Gavin Newsom?
Yes.
Do you have a particular candidate that you're going to vote? Are you going to vote tomorrow? Please say
Maxine
yes.
Waters, man. I am a big Maxine Waters fan. I already did my ballot, and we did some shirts for her today. We did some shirts for her community college.
Right? Oh, that's
Maxine
wonderful.
Waters is on board, and we want everyone to vote for Maxine Waters.
Oh, I'll tell you. If you ever have occasion to go to Washington, D.C., you ever been to Washington, D.C.?
Absolutely. Chocolate City, man.
Maxine has just a fantastic office. And I would encourage
In DC.
anyone in D.C., I would encourage anyone to visit your congressional office. Maxine Waters and her staff are absolutely fantastic. They're just good people, and they're very supportive of our community. So I would certainly support her, and I would endorse Maxine based on what she's done for me and for us. And when you say what a congressman does for you, or what a governor does for you, or what anyone does for you, and you wonder what your vote means, you only have to look at Donald Trump and see some of the processes that Donald Trump does, and some of the things that are just, you think it doesn't matter who you vote for, and you think, well, can Maxine help you or hurt you? Or can Donald Trump help you or hurt you? And I feel that Donald Trump has actually hurt us. So I think it's, people that feel that I don't have a voice, and when you put a candidate in office, you have to have if you didn't vote, I think you have to say that you very possibly had a hand in putting President Trump and Sessions in office. So I encourage anyone to vote.
Make sure you guys get out and vote.
Have you decided on a governor candidate? Some of the governor candidates are not Dianne Feinstein, but Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom was he's a little liberal for me. He used to be the governor, the lieutenant governor. The lieutenant governors typically only work if the governor would have something bad happen to them. They don't really have much, even legislative authority.
Much duties.
Gavin Newsom was the mayor of San Francisco. I'm thinking of going against Gavin Newsom because I think his policies were a little liberal. I tend to be against, or at least not as supportive, on some of the immigration policies. Where are you with the immigration policies, if you don't mind discussing your immigration policies? Whereas Trump wants to build a wall on the border, I'm against that. I don't think that is such a good idea. I am on the side of restricting the border, though. I am on the side of decreasing migration, illegal immigration. And by the same token, I'm sure I'm going to be hypocritical because I probably use people that are here illegally, and I haven't reconciled that. I haven't.
You mean as workers and contracts? I'm sure you do.
I hate.
Sure.
We
all do.
Yeah,
We employ these illegal workers.
I hate being hypocritical. And for me to say that, gee, I want to cut back on illegal immigration, but I still want to pay $5 for a big thing of fruit. How do you reconcile that? Where are you at?
That's tough, man. That's tough. I like to, we do need to keep a control on the migration. I don't agree with the wall. I like diversity. I believe in culture. I believe that people should be able to enjoy the United States, but we do need to keep it to a minimum. So I don't like the idea of the wall. I think we need to come up with a better solution of how we can include other people's culture in the United States, but to keep it at a point where we don't have so many people just trying to run into our country.
So you would
But
actually.
I like culture. I like diversity.
You
I
like
really
it?
welcome that because I'm one of the people that buy oranges. I'm one of the people that support these people. I do support these hardworking people that
I
move
do
into
too.
our country.
I do too. I do too.
I admire their stories. I hear their stories. They work in my house, housekeepers, and things like that. And you hear the journey that they come from, and I really admire them.
Yeah. I've known Stephen for a long time, and I got to ask you, and this is the question: have you ever cut your own grass?
Have I ever? No. That is very funny. I've never cut my own grass, man. Never.
That just goes to-
Not once.
That is.
But I have a best friend, and he brags to all of us that he owns his house and he cuts his own grass, man.
That is.
So that's his joke that he always makes. I've never cut mine.
If you ever come to Los Angeles, and anyone that's a friend, I welcome and enjoy you to come to Los Angeles. No one cuts their own grass in Los Angeles. I don't cut my own grass, and if you have a lawn and someone's cutting your grass, you probably are on the wrong side of immigration, and you're
Absolutely.
probably having someone cut your grass who's illegal. And I got to tell you, they do a wonderful job, and I'm sure I do a wonderful job. My family in Ohio, not in Ohio, I have a home in Ohio, and we have some property in Ohio, and my family cuts the grass. And when I'm there,
not
it's
as
just
good?
amazing. No, I'll tell you, when I'm there in Ohio, I think the expectation is that I cut my own grass. That's the expectation, and I actually don't know how.
You wouldn't know where to start.
I'm really embarrassed that I just don't know how. Do you feel like Cleveland has any chance at all in the NBA Finals?
Wow, does Cleveland have a chance at all? Yes, absolutely. With LeBron James, they got a chance, man. With game one, LeBron really showed me something when he put up 50 points and he willed his team to almost a victory in overtime. So I say Cleveland has a chance, man. My mom is from the Ohio State, Dayton, Ohio, and she is rooting for Cleveland real hard.
I didn't know your mom was from Dayton. No, that's wonderful.
Mom is
have
from
have you
Dayton.
been back to Ohio? Have you?
Absolutely.
Oh, you've been back to Ohio.
I've been back there a couple of times.
Absolutely, the heart of the country, and I'm sure you know. Do you know the
OH?
I
know it, man.
Oh,
I was a Buckeye fan until I was a Buckeye fan until your daughter went there.
Yeah, oh, is that right?
As soon as she went there, I stopped rooting for her.
Now, you didn't actually join the Michigan wagon, did you?
I like them. I love the
come
Michigan wagon, man. So I fit right in over there.
You know the coach of Michigan, whose name is John. What's the coach of Michigan's name?
Harbaugh.
Harbaugh, and the coach of Ohio State.
Tressel, no.
Not Tressel. It's
Urban Meyer.
Urban Meyer. Oh, excellent. You are an excellent guest. and we all have one thing in common. Urban Meyer, Harbaugh, and I have and Brittany, my daughter Brittany, we have the same thing in common.
What's that?
What would that be?
Urban Meyer coaches Ohio State.
We actually were born at the same hospital.
Same hospital.
Same hospital in Toledo, Ohio.
Amazing.
Urban Meyer was born at Toledo Hospital. I was born at Toledo Hospital. And we go to Toledo quite a bit. I'll be there next year, in fact. And next month, in fact. Not next year, in fact. So
my dream is to go to the OH Michigan game, man. I want to go to that game.
I've done it.
I might even jump in the lake one time.
It's really amazing. It's an amazing thing to do. Like any of the, it's a cultural thing. It's something that you see very, very similar to the USC. I don't think the USC-UCLA game is as big as the Michigan-Ohio State game.
The rivalry is there, but the fans, the Michigan-Ohio State, the stadiums hold much more people. Man.
Yeah. What do you think's a bigger? What do you think is a bigger game? That's a huge game. When Alabama plays? They play an annual game against their rivalry.
I want to say Auburn.
Is it Auburn? That's a huge game.
That's a huge one.
And it's called something. I forget what the game is called, but that's a huge game. Mm-hmm. My feeling is the Ohio State-Michigan game is probably the biggest game of the year. I think it probably beats the UCLA SC game, and I've been there. So John Chang, he's another person that we were considering voting, and John Chang's pretty conservative. I didn't like him so much. I think who we are going to endorse from Mondays with Wallace. You all know we are live from Los Angeles. This is Mondays with Wallace. I am Wallace Peoples, and we're going to vote for, or we're going to endorse Ricardo Lara. Ricardo Lara, he's been a little more supportive, and Mr. Lara has actually introduced legislation encouraging an opportunity for people that are actually delivering marijuana.
Okay.
So I think if I could put, I don't want to use the word conservatives because I just get hammered. People say I'm conservative. They feel to think that means that's a bad word. And I apologize, but that's not really a bad word. And just because I don't smoke, but being conservative is not a bad word. But I think what we need to do is decriminalize it, because the problem, I think the really problem with it being less criminal, and even the people that are selling it illegally in the shops, I think they only will get, like if you sell marijuana illegally in a shop, I think the fine is only in the neighborhood of $1,000. Mind you, $1,000 is a lot of money, mind you, but still.
Well, that's a slap on the hand to those guys
Right.
when they're making that type of money each day.
Absolutely.
Slap on the hand.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I don't know if that's the answer or if that's an impediment, but I feel we need to really be supportive of people that are grandfathered in, people that, I mean, marijuana is fairly new to, the California economy as far as being legal, but most people have been selling marijuana since for
Years.
gosh, I can remember
Years.
for sure. 50 years back for sure, probably longer.
You're right.
And how do you have those people that are actually selling marijuana, and now they're limited to being guards outside of marijuana shops, and that there's something wrong about that.
You're right.
There's something really wrong about that.
I agree. I have several friends that have gotten in trouble with the law with medical marijuana over the years, and I think it does need to be decriminalized and taxed the right way, and these laws need to be put in place. Right now, I'm telling you, it's just the wild, wild west. Like almost anything goes with marijuana. People are trying to figure out which licensings work. If you go to the doctor and get your medical card, is this valid if you get pulled over from the police? A lot of my friends don't know if they get pulled over from the police and they have the proper paperwork, are they going to go to jail? They're still afraid to go to jail. Even if they have the proper paperwork for this medical marijuana, they're in fearful of going to jail. If they get pulled over by the police or things like that, they have it in their car. So the decriminalization needs to take place with the proper laws.
It's very popular it's concept that a lot of African Americans are in jail because of cannabis and marijuana. And I think the reason is that a lot of African Americans, or minorities for that matter, not particularly African Americans, a lot of minorities are more subject to search. Even myself and yourself. I feel we're upper middle class, and I still am concerned if I get pulled over by the police, if I'm subject to search laws.
Yeah.
And as I'm as upstanding a citizen as possible, or as I would think I am, but are you concerned that you would get pulled over and would get searched?
Yeah, I was pulled over just last week for a seatbelt ticket. And
oh, there you go.
I was pulled over last week for a seatbelt ticket over in Culver City driving, and I feel like they had the opportunity to search my vehicle, but they didn't search my vehicle. I have all the proper licensings and paperwork, but I was still terrified. When the police pulled me over for a seatbelt, I knew I had marijuana in the car, and I knew I had the proper licensing for it, but I didn't know what was going to happen today. I know that these police officers, I didn't know if they was going to try to take me to jail over it. I didn't know if they were going to try to honor my paperwork, but it was a terrifying experience last week when I was pulled over for a seatbelt and I had marijuana in the car.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How long did the entire episode between the time that you were pulled over to the time that they let you go? They said, Mr. Cotton, you can leave.
It seemed like a whole eternity, man. It seemed like 24 hours, but I was probably pulled over for about 15, 20 minutes, and they did not search my car. They were in their car reading my registration, my paperwork, making sure everything was up and current to date, and then they let me go. But while I was in the car, I knew that I had some marijuana in the car, and I knew I had the proper paperwork. I was just scared. I don't know how the police treat this now. It's very unsure. All the people are unsure. We don't know how the laws are taking place right now. We don't know if we have the licensing from the doctor and the police pull up in our house. Are we going to go to jail? It's an uncomfortable feeling. So everything is being put into place right now. All the laws are taking place as we speak.
I see. I just can't imagine that. And
Bad feeling.
I think you have this a natural sensation. It's just natural. God has gifted us with a fight or flight mechanism. And I mean, if someone walked in here with a gun, which obviously that's not going to happen because it's secure, although I did notice you walked in. I did notice you walked in. So I guess the security guard isn't at the door.
Nobody out there, man. I walked right in.
Okay. But if there's that fight or flight, and with the fight or flight sensation is you get anxious and you start to wonder, should I run? Or you don't start to wonder that, but your body increases your blood pressure to enable you. So I would imagine if it were me, I would have just looked nervous as heck. I'm sure I would have sweated profusely.
Oh, I was sweating in the car. It was hot outside, and they were trying to start conversation with me.
They were starting to. And what was the conversation they had initiated? If you don't.
Oh, where are you headed today? What are you up to? Do you have a job? Do you work? And
no, they asked you if you had a job.
Yeah, they wanted to know if I worked. They wanted to know where I was headed this time in the afternoon. I told them I was headed to Mom's house. I was off today for Memorial Day week. I had the whole week off for Memorial Day, and I was headed to Mom's house. And I mean, they gave me a pass.
Yeah, yeah. I've actually, and I am not the person to ever. I am so thankful for the police. I've actually been riding around. I used to have a Porsche, and I've always loved nice cars. I've always been fortunate to have a nice car, and I've had the police actually pull me over, and this is years ago. Pull me over in front of my house, handcuff me, and actually, check my car for drugs, and this is before we're at a point now, whereas if that were 20 years ago, you would have probably got a beat down. I mean, LAPD, when you hear we're going to treat you like a king, that's what they do. Rodney King, you're getting the beat down. You're getting the beat down.
You're right.
Yeah, I'll tell you. And I treat you like a king. And I'm so thankful that we've moved away from that. And I feel bad for police, too, because police essentially are people like really you and me. They want to go home at night.
They do.
They still want to fight crime, but it's not fair to a minority. And I can't, to any of my listeners that are not minorities, there's no way I'm ever going to explain it to you. There's no possible way. I always wonder.
You got to be in the car with us one time when we get pulled over, man.
Yeah, I always wondered. My daughter, and it's a real sensation for me. If you get pulled over once or twice by the police, that's enough. That's enough. Where you really
to experience it.
Yeah, that's enough. And I'm always very cooperative. I always have my hands on the wheel. Did you have both your hands on the wheel?
Hands on the wheel.
On the wheel.
The officers, when they approached me, they wanted to know why I was reaching in the back seat.
Oh, is that right?
I made a mistake. As soon as I seen the lights, I started reaching for my wallet. I tried to find my wallet and my license, and that made them a little more nervous, and it made them unease.
Yeah.
So when you get pulled over, you pretty much want to sit still in your car, put your hands on the wheel, and wait for them to give you some demands. You don't want to go reaching for your license and stuff if they didn't ask you for your license yet. They didn't ask you for license and registration. Don't go reaching for it because they think you're reaching for something else.
Yeah.
So that was a big mistake when I got pulled over last week.
Oh, yeah. But you got past it. But
I did.
I just can't imagine.
It was some experience. I got to tell you that. I haven't been pulled over in a while, and it's an experience, man.
Yeah.
Today's day and age, being pulled over with all the body cameras and the technology, and most people say when you get pulled over now, pull out your cell phone and start recording. Because you're able to record.
Yeah, you are. I think that is...
kind of antagonizes the police.
I think that antagonizes the police a little bit.
I saw a police officer video where he grabbed the lady's cell phone and started tugging on her, and it antagonized him. It provoked him.
Yeah.
The lady was filming it, and they grabbed her cell phone, and
Is it right?
Real
Yeah,
bad.
they say if you ever go to jail and you're looking for justice, that's what you're going to find. Just us.
That's it.
That's what you're
That's
going to
it.
find. But I'm definitely thankful. Thankful you got out of that. I don't know if I could have got through that. So when you mentioned you had the correct paperwork, what's the correct paperwork? Is this something that you get from the city, or is this something that you get when you say paperwork? Do you mean just your license for your driver's license, or do you mean is there some type of medical marijuana certificate, or is there something that allows you to have medical marijuana or marijuana for that matter in your possession?
Absolutely. The first step, the thing to do is to go see a physician. You go see your physician, you tell them the ailments that you're having, and then they can prescribe medical marijuana to treat your ailments. Once you leave there, they give you a certificate. The doctor has signed off that you can now use medical marijuana, but you need to take that certificate. You need to go downtown to downtown LA, and you pay $150 to $250 depending on how long you want to register your thing, and you actually get a certificate from the Department of Health and Board to say that you are able to smoke marijuana. So a lot of people just have the certificate from the doctor, but they don't do the second part and go downtown and register it with the Department of Health and Board downtown, and it's not valid. Just getting that certificate from the doctor, you're on thin ice if you want to just ride around and smoke weed. You need to take your proper paperwork, go downtown, register that paperwork, and get your ID card for $150, $250.
I thought we were past that because since marijuana is legal, recreational is legal, I was thinking we were maybe past that. But will you still have to do that?
I know a lot of friends that right now they take their ID, they walk right in the medical dispensary, and they can buy marijuana without a doctor's note or without the Department of Health certified
Was that
card.
right? Is that right?
So it's a risk that they're taking. They're willing to go right around with medical marijuana and things like that. You get stopped by the police. It's very risky. I'm disabled, so I have all the proper paperwork, and I have a better sense of mind. It's good to have all the paperwork in place and know that I'm disabled and know that I'm using it the right way. I'm not abusing this medical marijuana.
I'd like you, if you don't mind, to give us maybe a little more information about your company and tell us some of the things we can get from your company. Stephen is probably the very first person that really changed some of the ideas that I had about people who smoked. And I don't know if you smoke, but I got the impression that you did. You always, and I always reach back to the Scooby-Dooby-Doo Shaggy, and you always thought that people that smoked were non-functional and weren't really contributing to society. But that's obviously, I was obviously wrong about that, and I'm thankful that I was wrong. But what else do you all sell at SC Edibles, and is there a way people can reach you? Do you have a number or anything?
Yes, absolutely. SC Edibles is located on the application on your cell phone, weedmaps.com.
Oh, it's on what, Weed Maps?
Weed Maps. So you go on your cell phone, you go to the apps downloader, and you download weedmaps.com.
Weed Maps, WEED maps.com.
Yeah. And what we are is we're a delivery service. So you would look up not storefronts, but deliveries. You would find SC Edibles in the search bar, and then you would see our entire menu there. After looking at our menu, you'll see that one of our best sellers are our chocolate bars and our lemonades. We have medical marijuana chocolate as well as medical marijuana lemonades.
And it's infused with marijuana.
Infused with marijuana. For the chocolate bars, we use a cannabis-based butter to infuse them. And for the lemonades, we use it's like a syrup. We infuse the syrup, and then we put the syrup in the lemonades to infuse the lemonades.
I see. Well, that's absolutely remarkable.
Tons of edibles and topical treatments, too. When we treat our patients, we use CBD. We don't use THC to treat our patients. THC is something... THC gets people high. CBD is more of the treating medical factor of the plant. So when it comes to marijuana, the CBD is more treating and ailing. The THC is more recreational and high. So I use a lot of the CBD products for pain. There's topical pain CBD products. I rub it on my neck. I rub it on my joints, and it's fabulous. I mean, it's one of our best products. It's better than Icy Hot. I've used Icy Hot. I've used Aspercream. I've used the over-the-counter products from CVS, but they don't quite help me with my pain like the CBD pain-relieving products do.
If you can provide us with a menu of your items, we'll be happy to post it on our Mondays with Wallace on Facebook. and you can figure out. We can figure out how to get stuff from you. Now, you don't provide out of the state, do you? Do you ship out of the state?
No,
or
we do not ship out of the state.
Okay,
It's
so
just
my people who listen from Ohio and Michigan, unfortunately, and New York.
you guys got to come visit California, man. You guys got to come
yeah,
out to the Wild Wild
California's
West.
fantastic. Yeah, California is fantastic. But so you only provide.
Yes. Delivery service. It's only a 10-mile radius. We serve
within a 10-mile radius.
Playa del Rey, Westchester. We do not serve the Inglewood area because of the laws and the conflicts we've had in the Inglewood area. We're pretty much Playa, Marina, LA area. We have drivers. They go right on the Weed Maps app. They select what they would like right from the application, and the driver brings it to them.
Really, what's
Just like a Uber service.
What's the turnaround time?
Just like Postmates.
If I tried to order something now, here it's 5 minutes to 4, and our show will be wrapping up soon, I believe. So when would I expect to receive?
Our drivers are local. You can say 30 minutes.
Is that right?
People
So I
don't
can
like
get
to
weed
wait
in
for their
30
weed.
Wow.
People don't want to wait for it. If
Is
you
that
got to
right?
wait for your weed, they're going to call somebody else.
Is that
That
right?
is a big thing that we've noticed, that people do not want to wait. They want it right then and there. They want their medicine. They can't get it right then and there. They're going to get up and go to the dispensary and buy it, or they're going to call somebody else. If you tell them 1 hour, man, ETA, they don't want that. They're going to look for somebody else.
Is that
they can
right?
get to them sooner. 1 hour to a
Is
smoker?
that right? Is there? I gotta tell you.
1 hour to a smoker?
I gotta tell you. Have you used some of the food delivery apps? Uber Eats. Have you ever used Uber Eats?
Yeah, I use Postmates.
Postmates. Is that
Postmates is similar to Uber Eats.
Yeah,
It's their competitor.
I ordered just recently. I ordered a Big Mac from Uber Eats just to check it out. And man, it took me over an hour to get it.
And it was cold, right?
Right.
That's my thing. I don't like ordering from these places because when I get the food, it's cold.
Is there a certain way that marijuana has to be stored? So if
Yes.
let's say I bought some marijuana from you or your company or what have you, is there a certain way that I'd have to keep it or store it or?
Great question. When storing marijuana, if you just take the bud and sit it out on the counter, it's going to dry out. It's going to dry out to the point where you don't even want to smoke it. It's going to get so dry and crumbly, it'll just turn into sand if you just sit it out on the table. If you put it in a jar, it will increase the shelf life to maybe about 1-2 weeks. But if you put it in a jar and you get a little humidity pack, they sell humidity packs. There's 2-way humidity packs used for cigar smokers and things like that. You put these humidity packs in the jar, you close the jar, and now you're getting that fine wine aging technique. You have the proper humidity inside the jar. You got it concealed, and now it's doing nothing but aging and curing. So it's getting better. So it will not go bad. Actually, years.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Years?
Years.
I actually have a cured ham. Cured ham. Listen, that's not funny. Cured hams. They're like from the Carolinas. You can get a Carolina ham, and it's cured. Really,
Sounds good,
I mean,
man.
the whole thing refrigeration is fairly new. It's salt. That's salt. See, there you go.
I do too.
My producers laugh. Yeah,
We know about
exactly. My producers laugh at the Virginia ham.
See, I went to school in Virginia.
Is
We
that
know
right?
about those
Yeah.
cured hams.
Exactly. But so I guess it's, and that's been around for years. As a matter of fact, I'm wondering if can I still eat my ham? It's been hanging in my house for 5 years minimum. You can still eat it?
No
It's
way.
really salty, though. It's really salty. You can
You
still
can
eat it.
still eat it?
Have some mold on it. Just cut around the mold. And
Just cut around it. Yeah.
It's
absolutely.
good?
It's good, yeah. And it's been hanging up we have a little cottage in Ohio.
Done nothing but
And,
age, right?
It's a
Just get
Smithfield
fine.
ham. Smithfield ham.
and salt.
Yeah.
Sucker's good forever.
Yeah,
Wow,
absolutely.
forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like jerky, huh?
Yeah.
It'll get hard and crispy after a while.
Yeah, absolutely. So, how much time do we have on our show? I think we're gonna.
Yeah, about 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay, good deal. The people that come on our show, we actually try to entice guests and visitors. And I don't know if you followed any of our shows, but you're going to win our gift. Do you know what our gift is, by the way?
No, I don't.
You don't know what our gift is? Aliyah, do you know what our gift is on our show?
I'm sorry.
Do you know what our gift on our show is? What we gift people on our show? 'Cause I think Steven's going to win our gift
Uh-oh.
this month. It's a ticket to Disneyland.
Tickets to Disneyland.
He gets a
Hooray!
ticket to Disneyland. Yeah.
Awesome. The happiest
a nice
place on
one.
earth,
So,
man.
Yeah, Steven gets a ticket to Disneyland.
I haven't been to Disneyland in a while.
You haven't been to Disneyland? Okay, well,
I was at ESPN Zone. We watched the basketball game there, game 1 there.
Yeah, do you know they're actually shutting ESPN's Zone down?
No way.
Yeah, they're shutting it down over
No
at Disneyland.
way.
Yeah, they are.
That's where all the chicks are, man.
Disneyland has gotten almost embarrassingly expensive, and
Oh, it
and
is.
I still go, and I'm thankful to go, but Disneyland's gotten a little on the pricey side, and I'm sure I'll get there this week, which is really unfortunate. But that's Disneyland for you. So we're going to be closing our show down. My name is Wallace Peoples. This is Mondays with Wallace. You can get me on Facebook. Always like us if you can. For governor, we decided we were going to endorse Ricardo Lara for governor because we like some of his sensible marijuana programs and some of the legislature that he's introduced to be supportive of people that we think are the heart of the marijuana community. We did hear some things that I thought were a little discouraging from Inglewood. I thought Inglewood would be a little supportive, and I think we will maybe try to reach out to Inglewood. I think the thing that will be important to Inglewood or any society is if you are a person who votes, and if you're a person that actually is an integral part of society, and that's what they want. So there's probably more miscommunication than anything. You seem to have, Stephen, all the proper. You seem to have all the proper ideology that anyone would want to support you. So This is Mondays with Wallace. I am Wallace. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank my guest, Stephen Cotton. What can you tell us about your company again?
Thanks for having me today. My name's Steve Cotton. You can reach us at scedibles.com, and you can pick up your Inglewood gear at Inglewoods LA, inglewoods.la. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. Lee, thanks for being here, and thanks for everyone for watching. See you next week.
See ya.